I'm going to show you today a simple but really effective ear training exercise that you can do with your saxophones or on any instrument for that matter. And there's a free PDF to accompany this lesson which you can access via the link underneath this video. Ear training is really useful for lots of things. It helps your tuning, your pitching, it helps your improvisation, your transcription, and just your general musicality and musical awareness. So it's a really valuable thing to practice. So I hope you're going to really find this lesson useful. So this first ear training lesson is going to be in several parts, and the first part is this. I'm simply going to play a G major scale on the saxophone, and I'm going to play it over one octave, starting on low G up to the high G, not coming back down, just the ascending part of the scale. When I've done it, I'd like you to do the same. If you're playing a B flat instrument, so soprano and tenor, if you want to make the same sound, you can play a C major scale, although it's fine for you to play the G major scale as well. And when you do this, the important thing is to play it slowly, first of all, because that's going to allow you to then really listen to the sound of the notes and think about what they sound and what they feel like when you're playing it. I'm going to introduce the next part of this lesson by telling you that every note within a scale, instead of using letter names, we can actually assign numbers to each note. So the first note is called the 1, the second note is called the 2, the third note is called the 3, etc. So what I'd like you to do now is play that scale again slowly, but as you're playing it, think about the numbers as you're playing up. So don't necessarily think about the notes, but think 1, 2, 3, etc. all the way up. So I'm going to play the scale again now with the numbers on the screen so you can see what I mean, and then I'd like you to give that a go as well. You'll see in a minute why thinking about these scales in numbers is a really useful thing to do, because when you're thinking about intervals, that's always talked about in numbers in terms of a third or a fourth, etc. So if you're already familiar with what those degrees of the scale are, then you're already a step ahead. The next stage of this lesson, we're going to actually practice playing different intervals from within this scale. So what we're going to do is play the root note, the 1, and then play the second note of the scale, and by doing that you're practicing an interval of a major second. Then you'll play the root note again, the 1, and then play the third note of the scale, and by doing that you're creating an interval of a major third. So you're practicing playing it, and you're also practicing hearing it, and you're getting used to what that interval sounds like, and also importantly what it feels like on your instrument. And I'd like you to do that all the way up the scale, so 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, etc. Again, take your time, so there's time to think about what you're playing and time to listen to what you're playing as well. Again, I'll just give an example of me doing that so you can see and hear what this should sound like. So by doing this, you're getting your ears used to what these intervals sound like, and you're relating it to a scale, which is really important because pretty much all pieces of music are based on scales of one sort or another. And you're also training your fingers to match up with the sounds that your ears are hearing as well, which again is really important. For this final stage of the lesson, what we're going to do is essentially the same as the last one, but we're inserting something in the middle. So again, we're going to go through the intervals within the scale, so play the root note, then the second, then the root note, and then the third again. But after playing the root note each time, I want you to pause. And in that pause, I want you to try and hear in your mind's ear, so imagine what the sound of that next interval is, and then play it. By playing it, you're doing two things, or one of two things. You're either correcting the mistake that you've made in mishearing it, or you're confirming it. So it's a really good way to check your progress and what you're doing. And what you'll find is that you probably, unless you're a genius, you won't get this right straight away. I haven't met anyone that gets this right straight away. But like all things saxophone, this is something to practice, and over a period of time you'll gradually get better at it. And it's one of these things, you just have to do it regularly to see that progress. So here's just a quick example of me starting this exercise off. And then imagine the next note, da, major second, and then play it to see if you were right. And then keep going with the intervals within the scale, doing that same process. So there's several stages to this ear training exercise. There's playing the scale through again and thinking about the numbers of the scale, and then playing the intervals, thinking about what they are, and then finally playing the root note and then imagining the interval and then playing it. And as I say, you can apply this to any major scale. So I hope you found this lesson useful now, but also ongoing in your practice as something to help you develop and improve over time. Do let me know how you get on, either by email or in the Saxophone Studies meeting place, which you can find out about on the homepage of Saxophone Studies, or in the comments below this video on YouTube. And keep your eyes peeled, because I've got more ear training videos coming soon for you.